Young kids can be fussy eaters, and parents often look for healthy snacks that also taste good. But a new study found lead in two popular organic-based products. Christine Lazar has more on what parents need to know.
Macarena Rizzo is very careful about the food she gives her 15-month-old daughter, Venus. These are staples that you give to her a lot.
Yes.
That's why she bought these veggie puffs from the company Lesser Evil.
Something close to homemade, and I found that they supposedly have good ingredients, so that's why I picked them.
But a new study from Consumer Reports discovered levels of lead in two snacks from Lesser Evil. One with 112% of the daily allowance, another had 60%, and an organic puff from the company Serenity Farms had 53%, according to California's lead standard, which is the nation's strictest. Both the Serenity and Lesser Evil snacks are made with flour from cassava root.
A lot of these foods, especially when you consider root vegetables like cassava, they often get contaminated with lead through pollution, through the water, and contaminated soil. So in a lot of cases, it's unavoidable.
Consumer Reports testing did find that two organic puff snacks from Once Upon a Farm made with sorghum flour instead of cassava have much less lead.
In fact, one of them had the lowest reading we've had since we've tested these types of products since 2017.
The company Lesser Evil tells CBS News food safety is a top priority, and we conduct extensive testing for all Lesser Evil products that complies with California Prop 65 and federal standards. And Serenity Kids says our puffs are and have always been safe for consumption. All of our products test well below the maximum allowable dose levels.
I thought that I was making a good choice or like a smart choice.
Now, Consumer Reports recommends giving the cassava-based snacks they tested in limited servings, but Macarena says that she's no longer going to use them.